Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Obsidian addressed delusional brothers, and I do think that brothers who are cheap do need to hear that message. I do want to say, though, that the Southeast Asians that he met at a wedding party in the United States obviously have been living in the U.S. And I think that may have changed certain things because, I mean, hell, white guys have said before that they could bring Filipinos from the Philippines into the U.S. and after a while she might change up on them. Others have said, a lot of brothers have actually said, well, we strong, we going strong. I'm staying with her, which is good. What a lot of us don't fully grasp, like we should, is that it's more so about sisters warning men to approach them after the era of Me Too. Obsidian was right. Western sisters don't fiv a guck. Other women don't fiv a guck. The difference is that Western sisters actually do care. See, Western sisters want you to be vulnerable. They want you in a position in which they have leverage. Now, they won't respect you, but they want you in that position. So they only want you in a position in which they can't respect you anyway. Then when they don't respect you, they don't want you. So you already can't win. It's set up that way. When they say the game is rigged, it's rigged. It's already like that. Sisters got the RBF, and sisters want you to remove all plausible deniability. And the problem is that we've already seen that they themselves will remove all plausible deniability for some guys. I mean, we've seen that for the select few, they will be like Fleece Johnson. I mean, Rebecca Lynn Pope, anybody? What does she admit to? Being married more than once, having been the toy for the F boys. I mean, come on. She seems to appreciate Carrie Pope, but what did it take? You take April Mason. I mean, April Mason looks young. She's in great shape. Can she lose the bit of the attitude that she does have? No. She still hadn't apologized for blaming black men when her cousin lied. Now, granted, she was being loyal to her cousin, but she still hadn't said anything about that. She even came out and tried to say something like they didn't press charges on her because she didn't lie. What? No, she did, apparently. Whatever did come out, she didn't say. They would have exonerated her cousin. She didn't even mention it. Brothers, when it comes to Western sisters, you should remain delusional. I would recommend remaining detached from Western women in general for your safety. But when it comes to Western sisters, remain delusional. Offer them nothing but neckbeards in the beginning. Nothing. After you have some sisters at Elmina Castle and Accra twerking for the ancestors and giggling, understand this. Because the good sisters in the West they don't say much about this. And that's when they do know. When they do know, because they're not allowed to say anything. You're not going to meet them because they're in hiding. You can't detect them. There's no way to do it. Don't treat them the same, but you don't know who they are. They might as well not exist in your personal life. You can address them en masse through social media like I'm doing, but in your personal life, they may as well not exist. What are they going to do? They're not willing to even make the effort to come out and show you that they are different and better, and here's why you should get with them. They won't even do that much. Why should you make that effort? They're not capable of respecting you to the same extent. That's the problem there. It would be nice if they were, but they're not. They won't. They seem incapable of it. Like See, sisters still believe that you carry a negative value. I'm not telling you to never make an approach, especially if it's for chase purposes. I'm saying do that elsewhere. In traditional societies, don't do it in southern Nigeria. Don't do it in Nairobi yet. Don't do it in South Africa. And any other part of the continent that seems to have the same problem, don't do it there too. Don't do it in China, because they're so outnumbered by men that their materialism is off the rails. I would tell you in these areas, don't do it. Now, in Japan, some of you get approached by Japanese women, you get flirted with. So if you did it there, at least it's even, Stephen. But when it comes to the West, the Western non-sisters, be detached. When it comes to the Western sisters, demand that they not only come and approach you, but that they actually follow you outside of the West. Watch them, they can't do it. Watch them, they fight you. The attitude that they've had is already unjustifiable. Now they want you to ignore the risk of Me Too so that you will fall right into what it is that is risky. That is all it is. Nothing else. Just, you know what? Me Too. I want to have that Me Too leverage against this guy and that guy and that guy. I want to have this at all times in case I get mad. They always are looking for leverage. Why do you think Carlisha Hood had a gun with an easy reach of a 14-year-old son from the beginning? I think she planned this. I really do. I think she planned this, probably just planned to like have an argument with somebody. I mean, it seemed like she knew Jeremy Brown. Now, I don't know what it was that she said to him to provoke him. And I'm not saying that he should have struck her first. What I'm saying is that I think she set up and planned a conflict and practiced no de-escalation, but badgered and badgered and badgered and badgered because she had a weapon with a license and her 14-year-old son was near it and knew where it was. I think that's what that was from the very beginning. I'm not sure what the reasons are, but in the end, it doesn't matter. She got off with murder. Jeremy Hood was wrong, and he paid for it with his life. She was wrong, and she didn't pay for it. The son was being a son, and he had to spend some nights in juvenile, and that was too much for him. So he's gotten off with too much difficulty because he's going to need therapy after this, and she's gotten off too easily. And now, this is the culmination of the attitude that you see. It's more severe. Most sisters ain't going to do what she did. The point I'm making is that it's still the same spectrum. She was just far further along on that same spectrum. It starts with their low-level contempt. Then BGS has talked about this before. They want you in a position in which they've got leverage, even though they can't respect you and they can't want a man they can't respect. It's like that. They don't want to respect you. And then they turn around, and the funny thing is that as Sergeant Willie Pete stated before, you know what? They say that it's unrealistic when you tell them to stop spreading their legs for the Pookies. But then it's unrealistic for them to choose the non-stereotypes. Since this is unrealistic, they can't do it, we have every right to look at them and say, you are out of your mucking find. What is wrong with you? So when they sit back in the West and demand that you approach them and remove all plausible deniability from yourself, but they won't do it, you sit back and say to them, no, gender equality. If you work the same job for the same hours, you may not work the same hours, you may not be able to, and it's not your fault, but if you work the same job for the same hours as a man, you get paid the same as a man. That is true. The pay gap has to do with professions and hours, and I don't blame women for these things. You say to them, no, gender equality. You remove all plausible deniability. You take the risk because you got the most attitude about equality. I got to make a hell of a lot more than you, be a hell of a lot taller, stronger, sometimes older, smarter, just for you to think I'm your equal. If we make the same amount, you see yourself as superior to me. No. You got the most attitude, even more than that Wyatt broad. So come with the gender equality. Remove all plausible deniability and be the one to make the approach. If not, sit up and watch us leave and fly elsewhere, and we will actually make approaches to someone else. Because understand this. Mumia was not wrong in what he observed. But brothers, that's actually a good thing. Shows some intelligence on your part if you're being that difficult. I don't tell you to be blue pill for other women, but I will tell you to give them shots you don't give Western sisters. I will say that straight up. It's not even out of hatred. It's just, that's what's better for you. You know, he was right when he said that there are brothers who think they just got that magic wiener and they just gonna ding-a-ling-matize some of the women. I get that. But you know what? Those aren't the dudes that make up my audience. I don't think so. I mean, sisters actually have been chasing after some brothers so much that these brothers who are being pursued by sisters and being allowed to get away with so much by sisters are the ones most likely to think that they can just ding-a-ling-matize other women like this, including escorts who do it for a living. They're the ones who are likely, they're the ones who have a reason to think so. I was not treated by sisters this way, ever. Partially that good, I never was. So I never walked around thinking, hey, you know what, I can just ding-a-ling-matize this woman and I'm in there good. No, that idea never crossed my mind. It was never allowed to. Dealing with Western sisters, I wasn't even allowed to think I'm the equal of other men. I only experienced that for a few months, actually. Once for about a month in a college preparatory program at an HBCU in the South. The summer before I graduated high school. All of us were from out of town to each other. Then went back into my hometown. Kind of had some equal treatment because I'd already had 2 fights. Then had to turn around and get into another one just to have finally full-on equal treatment. Oh, actually not even then. But kind of equal, a bit better treatment from sisters in the few months left until I had to leave my hometown for Atlanta. I don't know what that's like on a long-term scale, on a permanent basis. To be treated equally to other men by Western sisters, that's not an experience I'm going to have. The difference is that at that point, I was the one that had to go through that along with a few other dudes. Now, most of you brothers are being given that same treatment. So I've never come with this idea, I've never had this idea that I can just ding-a-ling-matize a woman that's nice to look at. and skip my way out the bill and things like that. And I'm not even talking about paying for play. I'm just talking about the things that men have to do traditionally. I've never been excused from these things, especially by good looking women in the West. And I'm not even in relationships with them like that. Wasn't before. But I still wasn't excused. When they should have excused me based on things they did or didn't do, they didn't do it. I don't know that feeling. I don't know that idea. It's only a few brothers that have it. And that's largely because sisters have let them have these ideas. Sisters let them do it. Sisters gave them that. So when they decide that they actually just don't want the attachment and maybe they deal with an escort, then they start thinking, well, I can still get out of my end of the bargain because I got that magic wiener. Some of them probably are even trying to not tip or trying to slide out the bill or run off on it because they don't want the escorts to get too attached. Whether that's a high likelihood or not, I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know, gentlemen, that you're actually being insulted by even the expectation that you should have to make these approaches in the West in the face of Me Too and everything else. Well, yeah, me and observed it correctly. These sisters want this, but you know what? If that's what they actually expect from you, damn, that's insulting. They know why the F you shouldn't do that. They know how stupid that would be for you to do it. They know how dangerous it is. They just want you to put yourself in danger's way. And that right there means they're enemies. Don't do it. They should not only pursue you because of what they put you through collectively. And I know because they're putting you now collectively, like 80% of you, they're putting you through what they were putting me through. And I was in the minority when I was coming up and going through this at first. I know it's insulting. I knew it was insulting back then. There's other guys that actually would tell me, man, Black, you reading too much into it. No, the hell I'm not. You don't have to go through the same stuff I got to go through. You're getting different results. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I am consistently getting bad results if they're the least bit in shape and nice to look at. We are not going through the same thing. Now you were going through it. I know it's insulting. Don't tolerate it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, and that's exactly how they think about you. Thanks for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power because she doesn't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying again with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Punch the Cash App on the way out. If not for me, then for Brother Hayes. And it's like I said before, it's not even that I'm asking for large amounts. I actually just like the sound of the notifications, to be honest with you. That's what it is. If you punch in $1, that's fine. It's the notification sound I've become addicted to. Thank you so much. Gender justice forever.